Will the USA betray the European Union in exchange for a good deal with Russia? By deliberately destroying German industry, think of Nord Stream 2, Europe will become a consumer market without its own means of production. American corporations can then enrich themselves with the help of Russian raw materials, at the expense of European citizens. Russia has already seized the valuable raw materials in eastern Ukraine. That, of course, was the purpose of the war, the wealth in the Donbass region. And while we are still waiting for the victory over the Russians that hysterical journalists have been promising us for 3 years, behind the scenes, Trump and Putin seem satisfied with the current outcome. But because Europe has an aging population, we will have to welcome a massive migration of at least another 100 million people from the rest of the world, namely these so-called essential consumers, needed to keep the USA and Russia, respectively, powerful and wealthy. Europe will then be reduced to a slave plantation. It therefore doesn't surprise me at all that of these three parties, Europe, USA, and Russia, only Europe has become truly feminist, and only Europe, as a submissive woman, submits to more dominant parties. It doesn't have to be this way. We no longer need to allow ourselves to be enslaved. Our declining fertility was, of course, not an accident at all. It was the result of decades of brainwashing with propaganda that a second child would be bad for the environment and a third a mortal sin. While Mehmet, with his 14 children from Afghanistan, gets 3 houses in a row here, granted to him by the municipality with taxpayer benefits. In other words, from people who could never afford such luxuries themselves. Who are these wise old women supposedly leading our continent? Kaja Kallas, Ursula von der Leyen? If they didn't see this coming, and if they didn't do anything to reverse course, then they're complicit. What has been done to us is the biggest trick in European history. Once again, we've been taken advantage of by parties we thought were our allies. Now we have only 2 choices left. Finis Germania. Accept the end by submitting to General Varus of Syria, as before, or by listening once more to the words of Arminius. Whoever loves his country, his parents and their forefathers more than the despots and their new colonies, then follow the people to glory and freedom instead of the traitors to shame and slavery.